Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of my blog, Ryan's Ramblings, and we're going to do something a bit different today because we have a guest with us. Tell us your name.
I'm Elizabeth Bauer.
And what do you do?
I'm a writer.
Really? Do you write books?
Obviously.
Yes, you do, and they are very good. I've read your book, and it is excellent.
Thank you.
Today I am here to talk with Elizabeth here about her book, and because I want you guys to know a bit more about it, because I love this book. I am very passionate about it. I think it's awesome. I fell in love with the characters. They are so wonderful, and I really hope you all can have the same that happened to you. So we're just going to get right to the point. Sound good to you?
Yeah.
Awesome. So who's your biggest inspiration as an author?
I would have to say J.K. Rowling, mostly because of all the rejection she received and she never gave up. Also because she was at her lowest point in life when she discovered that she could write about Harry. And it's just a huge inspiration to see somebody kind of just like me who's
awesome.
getting out there. So
that's really great. Well, enough about you. You're wonderful, but I want to talk about your book. So, what's the title of your book?
The Gifted.
All right, and what is it about?
The Gifted takes place after a nuclear war, like decades after it, where the toxins from all the bombs and all the high-tech stuff like that and gets into the systems and creates an elite gene. This gene helps people develop gifts or abilities, like special abilities. Like I have a mind reader, I have someone who can move objects with his mind. And eventually the gifted people were looked down upon, so it got split into two regions, which you have the elite region, which are the gifted or the ones with abilities, the privileged, yada yada yada. And then you also have the inept region, the ones who basically work as slaves for the elites, and the only reason they are kept alive is because the elite gene can be passed on to the next generation.
Wow. Yeah, it's a pretty bleak world for these characters. And speaking of characters, tell me about your main character.
My main character is Alexis Gander. She's 15 years old. She's kind of quirky, not your average, like, skinny, tall, blonde with blue eyes. She's just your kind of average young American girl who struggles with self-worth. She struggles with the fact that she lost her sister to the elite and just trying to find her place in life.
Right. And she's so great. I love her because I feel like I want to be best friends with her. Now, what is it that drives her over the course of the story?
What drives Alexis is her passion, for one. She's super passionate and she's a little stubborn, which kind of helps her be a rebel. So she is driven mostly by the fact that inept families are tore apart. She watched her sister a few years before become a mindless elite, and now she's watching her best friend go through the same process.
And speaking of, you mentioned these people. Is there any other particular characters at all that you really liked writing in this book besides Alexis, or that you have a big thing for?
There's two of them, actually, besides Alexis. Obviously, is Axel, which is one of my...
he's my favorite. I love him. He's so awesome.
He's actually one of the bad guys, unfortunately, but he's super fun to write for because
he's so great.
It's nice to be on that other side of the spectrum. And then I also love writing for Aaron, who is the mind reader.
Oh, Aaron, I feel like, because it is a very serious book. There's a lot of serious things that go on. I feel like what I really liked is that Aaron, he's a character that often, because he can read minds, he brings a lot of really funny humor and kind of how he's the only one who can really keep up with Alexis.
Yeah, he's the only one who can know what she's feeling exactly, and then he's the only one who can cut the tension because he kind of uses what people are thinking against them and just airs it all out for everyone to know.
It's awesome. So, there's some great characters, but what are some of the main themes over the course of the series?
Well, for the first book, a main theme is kind of standing up for what you believe in, not being bullied and not being brought down by others who think they're better than you, because let's face it, no one's better than anybody.
Right, absolutely.
And then for the entire series, I would say the huge theme is that it's okay.
Right.
It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to not think you're worth something, but you just need to remember that you are and that people do care about you.
That's awesome, and I love it. There were a lot of really, really great things I loved in here. So how exactly, I know it's a complicated question, but how did you come up with the idea for the gifted?
Oh, it is a very complicated
Right,
question.
right.
I don't know. I've kind of liked writing ever since I was younger. I
Right.
did a lot of poetry, and I was
Mhm.
always like, oh, I want to write a kid's book someday.
Right.
Um, but with the gifted, it's kind of like all my nerdy aspects of myself put together.
Right.
Like I love the Hunger Games. I love X-Men. I
Mhm.
love little love stories.
Right.
Like, so
No,
it's kind of all this.
it's got a lot of different things going on that I really like. Like there is this, there is some romance elements that really tug at the heartstrings, and you know how excited I get about those characters
Oh,
in the
yeah.
book. I won't spoil it, but it's awesome. But on the other hand, there's a particular battle scene, and you know the one I love, and I talk about it. And it reminds me of X-Men because I love the X-Men too. And I just read it, and I couldn't stop messaging her. I'm like, this was so cool. It reminds me. So there's a lot of really great things coming up. And how do you come up with all these different gifts? Because there's so many different gifts, and they're all very unique. So
Well, their abilities, I went with some of the basics like read mind,
right,
moving stuff with your mind, being strong, mind
Mhm.
control. Like I went with some of the basics, but then like with other characters, I wanted to reach outside the box. I wanted to be different from X-Men,
Right.
from all these other
Right.
superhero type things. So
right,
I would think, well, what goes good against someone who is strong,
Right.
who can do that. There is a kid in my book who can enhance abilities,
right,
so he can actually make someone else's abilities
Right.
stronger. I also have other ones who can put images into other people's minds to
Mhm.
kind of play that mental game with them. So
right.
I don't really know how I come up with them. I just try to think,
Right.
well, what could counter this?
Yeah,
What could
no, that's
their
really cool.
weakness
I did
be?
not
So-
know that. That's awesome. And it really does to like what else? So all these different abilities, obviously, you said set it apart.
Mhm.
So what else? I mean, what else sets the gifted apart?
I think what sets my book apart would be the fact that my main character is not some cookie cutter. One bad thing happens to her, and suddenly she knows how to defeat everybody, and she knows how
Right.
to be okay.
Mhm.
Throughout the entire series, my main character struggles with everything, and I feel like it's more realistic that way. It's more realistic because when, say, we have something bad happen, say someone loses their job, suddenly they're not going to just be like have inspiration, be like, oh, I'm okay now. Like suddenly things are going to be an upward climb because it
Right.
doesn't actually really happen
Right.
in life. So.
Right. No, that's really awesome, and that's something great that I think a lot of people will be able to take away from this
I hope
as
so.
well. So yeah, no, it's different because I really like, because you said the characters are so Alexis is so multi-dimensional. Unlike, I've read all the Twilight books, and Bella, Edward leaves and she turns into a blubbering pile of crap. She just cries and cries. Where, Alexis gets her heart broken. Is that fair to say at some occasions?
Well, yeah, her best friend or her
Mhm.
significant other, Xander, is being taken across the
Right,
Legion.
right.
So, yes,
So, I mean-
at some point she gets her heart broken.
But she doesn't. But she keeps going. She has her goal of just going for what she wants. I think that's
Definitely.
something that's really great.
It does take her a little push, but it
Right,
would with anybody,
right.
obviously. So,
That's awesome. So there are a lot of things that I think are really going to connect with people here throughout this book.
well, thank you.
Awesome. So, is there anything else that you want to say about the book?
The only thing I want to say is I'm super excited, and I hope
Yes.
you guys really enjoy it. And it is going to be released on Amazon as an ebook and as paperback Friday, November 14th, 2014.
Wow. Release date. Awesome. Guys, thank you for watching this. I loved having you on, Elizabeth.
Thank you. I
I'm
love
sure.
being here.
Yes, it was wonderful. You are the very first guest in the history of Ryan's Ramblings. I love talking with you, and I really love this book.
Thank
I've
you.
read it a couple times, the first one, and I love it so
Thank
much.
you. I
I am
appreciate that.
so excited for this book to be out and people to just kind of see what you've been working on and what you put your heart and soul into.
Thank
So
you. That probably is the hardest part about being a writer, is you're putting yourself out
Right.
there for people to either love it or
Right.
hate it. So
you've done a great job, and I feel like people are just going to fall in love with this book the way that I
I
did.
really hope so, because I really want them to get to know my characters.
Yes, that's awesome. All right, guys, this is it. You excited about the book? You want to know more? You can actually find her on Facebook. Just type in Elizabeth C. Bauer, and you'll find her page. She'll give you updates on the book, maybe little snippets. Who knows what she'll give you? You'll have to follow her to find out. Or there's always me. I'm not as cool as her or nearly as good of a writer, but you can find me on my Facebook, my Twitter, my YouTube channel. Like the video, subscribe. All right, this is White Money, and I'm signing out.